Assalamu alaikum, students. Today I'm going to start the next two paragraphs so that we can finish this essay as early as possible. So if you see this passage, these are two paragraphs. We know that in the previous paragraph, we learned that the prisoner was executed. So if you see this passage, it occurs at the very end of the execution scene, immediately after the prisoner has been hanged. Before this moment, we read or we see that our narrator had already gone through a deep moral realization, especially when he noticed the prisoner is avoiding a puddle, and he understood that the man was fully alive and conscious. The tension then built up through the prisoner's final cries of Ram Ram. Those final cries create emotional and psychological pressure on everyone present there. So if you see, this passage shows what happens after the execution is completed, what they do after executing a person or a prisoner. The body is checked. How they check the body, let's see. We'll see in this paragraph. Then the officials confirm death, and the entire atmosphere suddenly changes. The focus shifts from the seriousness of death to the casual, routine behavior of the officers and prisoners, as if nothing had happened. This is not just the end of a hanging. This is the moment where Orwell shows how quickly human beings move from witnessing death to normal life. It is not possible. You see, you observe, you're part of executing a human being. And after a certain time or after some minutes, what happens? You become normal. It is itself abnormal. It exposes the mechanical, routine, and emotionally detached nature of capital punishment. Now let's come to the lines, the paragraph explanation. The superintendent reached out with his stick and poked the bare body. How cruel he is. He's poking the bare body. It oscillated slightly. So the superintendent is using a stick instead of touching the body directly. How disgraceful behavior he has, as if it is an animal's body in front of him. It shows physical and emotional distance, detachment. It does not have any connection with the prisoner emotionally. If you see, the word poked sounds casual and insensitive. It lacks respect for the dead. We see another phrase, bare body. It emphasizes vulnerability, susceptibility, and loss of dignity. Again, we find another word that is oscillated. That word means slight back and forth movement caused by the poke, not by life. Because he has poked him, that's why his body moves back and forth. So we can get the meaning from here that the prisoner is completely dehumanized, how they are checking his body, how they're confirming that he's dead. He's treated like an object, not a person. Then he's all right, said the superintendent. The phrase all right is ironic. He's dead. And he's saying he's all right. because it usually means safe or healthy. When we say it's all right, it means everything is okay, everything is safe, everything is healthy. But here, opposite to it is it's done. Opposite to it has happened here. But here it means that he's properly dead. His execution is perfectly done. That's why he says he's all right. And the tone is casual and routine. It's a routine matter. He has no feelings that someone is dead, of dead bodies in front of him. And they have executed him. So here we can understand it like that. A death is normalized and it is treated as a successful task rather than a tragedy. It was a task for them and they have accomplished it successfully, perfectly. Everything is all right. He backed out from under the gallows and blew out a deep breath. Backed out. Very important word, a verb, a phrasal verb. It suggests withdrawal from the place of death. He leaves that place. He doesn't stay there for a longer time. Blew out a deep breath. It shows relief and release of tension. Now, the officials whose responsibility was to execute the prisoner feel psychological pressure before execution. They were feeling, right, when they were about to execute him, but now they're feeling relief, right? After it is completed, after the task has been done, after the task has been accomplished, now they are comfortable. Now they are feeling okay. Now there is no tension. They are not tensed. They're normal now because they have completed their task. Again, it's all right, right? How cruel, how bitter they are. The moody look had gone out of his face quite suddenly. Now see the word moody, it suggests seriousness, tension, or discomfort. And now we see that its sudden disappearance, suddenly it disappears. That abrupt disappearance shows a rapid emotional shift. It means that emotional discomfort disappears quickly once the act is over, once they have completed a task, once they have executed a prisoner. The discomfort is gone now. His discomfort is gone now. Everyone is normal. It shows lack of lasting moral reflection. For a while, they were tensed, but then after completing this task, now they are again to their routine, their normal routine. That is pity. So he glanced at his wristwatch. Glancing at wristwatch shows attention shifting to time and routine. Now what they have to do? What in routine they have to do? The execution is treated as part of a schedule. Now what next? That's why he's glancing at the wristwatch. So it means that death is reduced to a timed activity, not a moral event. It is an activity that is part of your schedule. 8 minutes past 8. Well, that's all for this morning. Thank God. The exact time shows precision and routine. He's telling the time. What is the time? Exact time when the body is, when the prisoner has been executed, when the prisoner is dead. And he says, that's all for the morning. So this phrase kills you. This phrase treats execution like daily work. Thank God expresses relief. He's praying to God. He's thanking to God. And this word, thank God, is expressing relief. He's relieved. He's feeling relieved now. Thank God is not for the prisoner, but for finishing the task. He's thanking to God that they have finished the task of executing a prisoner. So here again, we see that execution is treated as a normal routine task, a normal routine duty. It is normalized. It's not special. And everyone feels relief when they complete this task. The warders unfix bayonets and march away. Now they are comfortable. They remove their weapons and they leave in an orderly manner, following a sequence. This signals the end of the operation. Now the task is over. It means that the system moves on immediately after death. There's no mourning there, no environment full of sorrow. No, everyone is cool and calm. This signals the end of the operation, and it also shows that this whole task is mechanical and it is efficient. They have done this mechanical work efficiently with perfect efficiency. Now we come back to the dog. The dog, sobered and conscious of having misbehaved itself, slipped after them. Now, sobered is suggesting the dog has become quiet and subdued. He's become passive after earlier excitement. In the beginning, he was excited, but now his excitement is over. He's conscious of having misbehaved. That phrase gives it human-like awareness, that he is behaving like human beings. He is aware like human beings. But the human beings should have to be there. So it means that even the animal senses the seriousness of the situation and adjusts its behavior. But human beings, they don't. For them, it is normal. They don't feel any seriousness of the situation. We walked out of the gallows yard, past the condemned cells with their waiting prisoners, into the big central yard of the prison. Now, they move from the gallows to other parts of the prison. This movement to other parts of prison shows continuity of routine. Routine doesn't stop. Nothing stops. It was an object that has been, whose life has been ended. Or maybe he was lifeless for them, even when he was alive. So the waiting prisoners, this phrase reminds us that more executions may follow. Maybe tomorrow, another prisoner. The day after tomorrow, another prisoner. That is not an isolated event. It is part of an ongoing system. It doesn't happen once. It happens again and again. The convicts, under the command of warders armed with lathis, were already receiving their breakfast. You see, they have started taking breakfast. They are eating. Nobody is mourning. Everyone is detached. They are not concerned. What is their concern is their breakfast. They are taking breakfast. Life continues. Someone has gone. Someone has left this world. 10 to 20 minutes, he was among them, but now he's no more, but no more is recalling him. Nobody remembers him. So life continues, life goes on. How cruel phrase this is, or clause this is, life goes on. Oh my Lord. So it shows that life continues immediately after the execution. It affects nobody. The presence of lattice shows control and authority. Daily routine continues without interruption, even after a death. They have executed a person. They have not disposed his body, they have not buried him, and they have started eating breakfast. They squatted in long rows, each man holding a tin pannikin, while two warders with buckets marched round, ladling out rice. This describes an organized, almost orderly routine. The image is simple and structured. It means that prison life follows discipline, it follows repetition, it is unaffected by the execution. It seemed quite a homely, jolly scene after the hanging. Oh my Lord, the words homely and jolly, look at them. They create a surprising contrast with the recent execution. How you can be jolly? Ho ho. So here it means that normalcy of life after death feels disturbing. It shows how quickly violence is forgotten. They forget that there has been one execution. An enormous relief had come upon us now that the job was done. So the word job reduces execution to a task. Enormous relief presents emotional release. They are relieved. It means that the officials feel relief, not because justice is done. They are not concerned that justice is done, but because the unpleasant duty is over. They have got rid of it. One felt an impulse to sing, to break into a run, to snigger. These reactions suggest excitement as well as release of tension. Snigger implies inappropriate laughter. How can you laugh after seeing someone's dying in front of your eyes? It means after the stress, there is a strange, almost disturbing return to lightness and energy. People are normal to their normal life. They're back to their normal life. And that disturbs us as readers. How it can happen? All at once, everyone began chattering gaily. They start conversation. Chattering gaily shows cheerful conversation. They're happy, they're laughing, they're enjoying. Their behavior is normal. What kind of humans they are. So the group quickly returns to ordinary life. They ignore the gravity of what has just happened in front of their eyes. So now let's talk about literary techniques. Imagery, irony, contrast, symbolism are also existing in both paragraphs. Let's talk about imagery. Orwell is using strong visual and sensory imagery here too. Like he uses the phrase bare body, oscillated, squatted in long rows, ladling out rice. All these are creating strong visual effect. They are all part of strong visual and sensory imagery. We can create a picture in front of our eyes. These details create a vivid picture of both the execution as well as the routine life of the person. It means that the contrast between the disturbing image of death and ordinary scene of breakfast forces the reader to see how easily violence is absorbed into daily life. Now let's move to irony. Phrases like he's all right and that's all for this morning, thank God, all of them are deeply ironic, extremely ironic. Normally, such expressions suggest relief or well being, but there they refer to the successful killing of a man, executing of a man. They are, after accomplish this task, they are saying, thank God. They're saying he's all right. He's a dead body, and you're saying he's all right. Rubbish, isn't it? And he's saying, that's all for this morning. Like they have won a match, or they have been victorious, they have accomplished a task. So the irony exposes the moral emptiness of the system, how empty we are, where death is treated as something normal and even relieving. It has not influenced their minds, their feelings, nothing. Let's talk about contrast. We see there's a sharp contrast between the execution, death, silence, and then tension. And there's another activity you'll find the breakfast scene. One scene is where execution is going on, and the other scene is where breakfast is served. So execution shows death, silence, tension, whereas the breakfast scene shows life, movement, and normal routine. The contrast highlights how quickly people move from witnessing death to ordinary life. How can it happen? Are we normal human beings? Do we deserve to be called human beings? So that contrast also emphasizes emotional detachment. Now let's talk about symbolism. The gallows, it symbolizes institutionalized death, systematic killing, execution. Then the stick, it symbolizes emotional distance and lack of humanity. It's brutality that he shows using stick to check whether he's dead or not. Then the breakfast scene, it symbolizes continuation of routine life, callous attitude people have. The damn care that someone has gone. These symbols show how death is absorbed into a larger system that continues unaffected. We're also like them, isn't it? Let's talk about the tone. The tone remains calm, detached, and observational throughout. Even shocking events are described in a controlled manner. It means that a lack of emotional language makes the brutality more disturbing as it reflects normalization. Let's talk about themes. I'll also give you some examples here. I'll move a little faster. Normalization of death is the first theme. When the line, that's all for the morning, is used, we see that it treats execution as a routine task. It's a normal way. Killing is, or death is normal. That is not treated as a moral event, but as part of daily duty. Then let's talk about dehumanization as a theme. The body is poked here, it is inspected and referred to casually. So we see that the prisoner loses all human dignity and becomes an object. He's not a human being. Even after death, he is not treated as human being. Emotional detachment is another theme. The superintendent's relief and the cheerful conversation afterward show lack of lasting emotional impact. It means people disconnect themselves emotionally from violence. Fourth theme is contrast between death and life. The shift from execution to a homely, jolly scene of breakfast creates a powerful contrast. It shows that life continues normally even after death. It makes a situation morally disturbing. So there's another point, relief after violence. Okay, fifth one is relief after violence. An enormous relief had come upon us. It shows psychological release. It means that the act of killing creates tension, but its completion brings relief instead of guilty. They are not feeling guilty that they have taken the life of someone by force, unnatural death. But they are relieved that they have accomplished this task, the task which they were given. Now, bright style, and because when you talk about techniques, I don't think so that you cannot talk about style clearly, because techniques cover the style. We see that George Orwell uses simple, direct, highly descriptive language. His style focuses on physical actions, even uh, observable details, minute detailing you can find. And we don't find emotional commentary in his essay, in his narration. We see that the narration remains controlled, and it is not subjective, rather it is objective. Even when he describes disturbing events. So we can say that this restrained style makes the scene more powerful because the reader is forced to interpret the moral horror without being guided emotionally. He does not guide the reader. He lets them feel what they want to. Now, let me critically analyze these two paragraphs. So we can say this is the passage. It reinforces yeah. So we see that this passage reveals the true nature of institutionalized execution, how it is, in reality, what it is. Orwell shows that once the act of killing is completed, the system and the people within it quickly return to normal behavior. That execution does not affect them emotionally, even physically, psychologically. No, not at all. The superintendent's casual language and visible relief suggest that execution is seen as a duty. It is a task that they have to accomplish. And it is not considered as a moral burden. They don't feel guilty of it. They don't feel guilty that they have killed someone by force. They've taken the life of someone. Okay, he committed a crime, but we have taken the life of that person. So this transition from death to the breakfast scene is particularly significant. It's very important. It exposes the whole system. It even exposes the whole humanity. All human beings are exposed. The ordinary activity of eating. And it is described as homely and jolly. It creates a disturbing contrast with the recent hanging. It shows how easily human beings adapt to violence when it is part of a system. They have accepted it. They have accepted this whole process. They're endorsing it by not showing any grief. Orwell is not only criticizing capital punishment or execution, he's also exposing how systems condition people to accept and normalize cruelty. They are treated like, they are trained like that it's normal, that we have given we have served the justice. So let me conclude this disturbing paragraph. Both paragraphs powerfully highlight the themes of dehumanization, emotional detachment, and normalization of violence. And we see that narration is controlled. We find contrast in narrative. We find irony in it. And with the help of all these techniques, Orwell shows how execution becomes a routine task within an organized system. So we can say the most disturbing aspect is not just the act of killing, but how easily it is accepted, how people have accepted it, how they have responded after the death, after the execution, how it has been completed, and how quickly, abruptly, it has been forgotten in seconds. All this reveals the deep moral failure of institutionalized punishment, systematic punishment. I hope you have understood it. If you have any queries, you can ask me. I will answer you. I'll try my best to answer you, whatever I understand. Thank you for watching.